Hi guys, it's Eugene from Jinjer, and this is for those about to rock.
Hi, I'm Stephan from you're listening to Radio Agora, and I'm here with Eugene from the band Jinjer. Hi Eugene.
Hi guys.
So you're now on your, I guess, third European tour, if I'm not mistaken, since 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
Since 2018, it is the... Do we count summer tours?
You mean like festival tours?
Yeah.
I'd say yes.
Then it is like festival tour 2018. Before summer it was May tour around Germany mostly. Before that it was Arch Enemy. So it's the fourth.
Oh, it's the fourth. So, all right, then I count. Then I only counted the regular tours, not the summer tour. So I wasn't totally mistaken. But now this is your first tour with Soilwork and Amorphis. And
the first time we shared the stage together, yeah.
Exactly. How was the tour so far?
Great. It's different from previous tours, definitely, because it all depends on the package. The different people, different tours, different atmosphere inside the crew. But there are its own pros and cons, and I don't mind that. It goes more or less smooth. Talking about advantages, I really like that me and Tommy from Amorphis and some more guys, we started doing some workout together. Yeah, I've bought gloves, boxing gloves, those ones, and we do a little bit of boxing, which is cool. Okay. Yeah.
So is workout in that sense a very important part for you during touring, especially?
Yeah, it is very important now for me because I got back to sports and really happy about that. And going on tour, I was a bit frustrated on this one that I will again lose my shape. But fortunately, I have a chance to at least keep fit a little bit, and it really makes me feel better.
You perform better for the exercise?
I just feel better. I just feel better in general. Yeah. In the past, it wasn't such a big deal because I wasn't doing sport for almost 10 years. Just nothing. Yeah, but now I'm back. I'm back on mats. I do jiu-jitsu. I'm really happy about that. And having a chance to do a little bit of exercise, being away from my gym, away from home, is a big deal for me now.
Of course, I can relate because I don't do any sports right now, and if I'm playing a gig, I'm actually struggling a little bit, especially in the first two songs of a set. When I get on stage, then I get into it, but yeah, I completely understand. Now,
being in good shape is important. Being in good shape is important for a musician, for a touring musician.
Yeah, I understand. It's not only your stamina and physical strength, but it's also your confidence that is boosted through workout.
Yeah, it's just overall thing, and it is connected with many aspects. Not like you said, not only stamina, not only physical conditions, but also mental conditions and how well you feel yourself, how well you feel mentally. It depends on your physical conditions a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's stay with touring to expand beyond this tour right now, but also your North and South American touring of last year, including this one. Did you have any favorite experience of any place or concert you've been on?
Well, all the tours we have had so far were they all were wonderful experiences. Touring with Arch Enemy was just first big tours for us ever, and like I said in many interviews before, guys from Arch Enemy and their crew taught us really a lot. Like Jinjer before Arch Enemy and Jinjer after Arch Enemy in terms of professionalism and working on stage and the general approach to many things playing live. Jinjer before and after are different bands. Yeah, and that was a great experience because of this, and also because just they are wonderful people and we really loved hanging out with them. And then we toured last year, a year ago almost, in the United States with Cradle of Filth, which was also wonderful, but from a different perspective. They are wonderful people. And there are two guys from Czech Republic which are very close to us mentally. We hang out very, very well and a lot, and we had cool parties together, so it just went very well. And it was our first time in the States, so it definitely a lot of impressions.
Yes, I took from previous interviews you've given that being in the States was some kind of checking off an item on the bucket list for you.
Definitely. We were always dreaming about going to the States and playing there. And finally, last spring, this dream came true. And then we came back to the States touring with Devil Driver, which was also cool because Daz from Devil Driver is our manager, so it was like, being almost like at home, having a guy who always takes care of you, looks after you, so it was very, very easy to play on that tour. Yeah, but apart from this, being support, we did headlining tours, and we played with bands like the Lysander and Concept from Paris, Oh God from South Africa, Möbius from Italy. If I'm not mistaken, they are from Corsica actually. But anyway, from the Italians, yeah. Wonderful bands, just awesome bands, and we had really good time together playing, yeah. And had wonderful shows, smaller than these shows, yeah, just let's say for 400 or 500 people maximum, yeah. But those are that kind of hardcore gigs with people standing right in front of you, yeah, sweaty and stuff, which is also, I love playing that.
Well, yes, of course, it's the small clubs. You're right there with the fans, with the guys. It has a it has a dynamic of its own. That's pretty cool. Well, let's get to the next point.
I'm sorry. Yes, I think we have enough time for this. Yeah, but apart from just musical side, for a year and a half there have been so many things, just connected with tours, because we saw so many people, we saw so many places, world famous sites like the pyramids in Mexico. Yeah, the Pyramid of the Sun we climbed up and connected to the energy of the universe. Yeah, and the South American tour, which was wonderful. Yeah, I couldn't really expect that we are so big in South America, in Latin America generally, with all those thousands of people coming to see us. So,
I hope I'm not overstepping here, you answering for Tatiana, but I know that she's deeply connected to kind of the Native American culture. Yeah, also, so was South America a good experience for her in that sense?
Exactly. It was very inspiring for her in many senses, and for all of us. It's just, it is so different from the rest of the world that getting there should be in the bucket list of everyone, and it's just a wonderful experience. Not only musicians, just everyone should once go to Latin America and see how it goes there, because it's very different and it's very good in its own way.
That's perfect. I mean, I hope I visit it someday. Well, when speaking of Tatiana, let's get to a topic you might want to avoid, in that sense that you mentioned often in interviews that you don't really like talking about that topic, and it's the female-fronted thing. But wait till I form my question, and I begin with an anecdote of my own, and how would you say, getting to know Jinjer. For a while, in 2017, I had that Pisces live studio session video in my mentions, in my recommendations, and I avoided clicking on it because it had that woman on the mic. And I was like, I know these female-fronted bands. I know that's just mediocre metal with some sexy sexy pin-up in the front, and I want music. I don't care for that. And then finally I clicked on it, and beyond Tatjana's tremendous talent on the microphone, she's an amazing singer.
She is probably one of the best singers in the world at the moment. In the metal scene.
In the metal scene, she's, in my opinion, the most versatile and best singer, period. Especially because she's so creative with what she does with her voice. There are so many elements. You hear her kind of rapping like hip hop style in Teacher Teacher, for instance, and she goes melodic, opathy with Pisces and so on. And I really love that. But beyond that, what really grabbed me as a musician myself and as a fan of good music was just that the band behind that woman wasn't playing any mediocre metal, but really inspired music. And that's a testament to you, because I enjoy the drums like crazy, especially now that Vlad is on the drums. His ghost note play at Pisces is the studio version of Pisces and the live studio version of Pisces are two different
songs. Yeah,
two different things just because of his drumming. Then you on the bass is also just a completely different thing. It's inspired, it's proggy, it's to the point, it's not too much, which in my opinion a lot of great bass players do. It serves the song very well. And then Roman on the guitar, he's so underrated because he's doing so much rhythm, but the way he does it is so on point and clean and brutal. Absolutely. And I love that. And that showed again on Micro, your new EP, which I enjoyed the fuck out since then. So now back to the female-fronted thing. There are some questions I would have asked Tatjana in that sense, but what I can go back to, do you feel that you are treated differently because of that aspect?
Yeah, of course. And there is nothing to do with that. We just have to accept this thing. It's like we have to live with the two different approaches and attitudes from two different camps of people. One camp of people, three camps, just let's say so people in the middle who do not really care about male-fronted thing and just listen to music and can be our fans, because they may not like our music or may like our music. If they do, they are our fans, which is cool. And there are two different camps on the opposite camps, on the extremes. Like you said, you come from one of those, saying you avoided watching the video because, and I understand you perfectly, because there are so many mediocre female-fronted metal bands which really suck. I mean, come on, they suck. It is impossible to listen to this. Impossible. And I myself avoid watching such videos if I have in the suggestions something like that. I would myself probably avoid watching this too. Yeah. But these people are okay. I mean, I understand them. I also partially come from that camp. Because if they finally one day click and watch this, they may be our fans, and I will be glad to have them in our fan base.
Yeah, and let's not forget, a lot of those guys are just piece of shit misogynists.
That's true, yeah. But on the other side, there is another camp. They're just guys who are crazy about girls on vocals, and come on, I may be too direct, but it's just wanking. It's just all about, watching a beautiful girl on vocals and not caring about how well she sings, how well the guys behind her play, and what they play. And mostly just sucks, and we have hundreds of people going to these bands' concerts, and watching and hearing to this bullshit without having no idea and not caring actually how bad it is musically.
Yes, of course, but...
And I would not like to have these people in our fan base.
That would have been my question, because a lot of those guys would go to your concerts exactly for that reason. But you say you won't care.
I care in the way that I cannot really see a person and judge upon their appearance, what camp they come from. Yeah, and but if I know that this is just a guy who only cares about a girl, I would not like to have him or her in our fan base.
Okay.
Just go and listen to another band. Yeah,
I completely understand that. Now let's come to something that's kind of connected with it, because I think especially in 2017 and 18 a lot of your growing popularity in the scene, in the genre, came from, let's say, social media. The YouTube views, especially of your Palisades.
Of the nowadays.
Is the social media presence of you guys a very conscious decision, or is it just a byproduct of you doing what you do?
I think it got to be a byproduct eventually. None of us really wanted to be, a social media person with thousands of subscribers on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. No, we never wanted to be so. We never wanted to be this sort of bloggers, vloggers and stuff like that. But the reality, the modern world just makes you work like this. Otherwise you won't be able to succeed. So media, traditional media, do not really have that sort of influence they used to have. They of course do, but not the way they used to be so influential, let's say even 15 years ago. And now, how well you present yourself on the internet is essential and very important. I would say maybe not as important as the music you make and how well you play.
Oh, I hope so.
But I would say at least 30% of your success. 30%. That's a lot. And we had to do such things. We had to post these photos. I actually started my Instagram only 1.5 years ago. The guys persuaded me. Yeah, and I was trying to avoid it. But I had Facebook and some other social media stuff. Yeah, and you just have to do this.
Spoiler alert, I follow you on Instagram.
Thanks, yeah.
But because of the base.
Yeah, I'm trying to present my subscribers because, maybe not all of them, but quite a lot of them are bassist, just with some maybe useful information about bass guitars and playing and stuff like that. I'm trying to do this.
I especially enjoyed your playthroughs on YouTube.
I don't have many of them, but as soon as I have free time, I always try to make one or two. Yeah.
Now let's come to your experiences here in Austria. It's not the first time you're here. How was the experience so far?
I love this country. I really love this country. Yeah. First of all, because, well, it is very picturesque, and I like the people a lot, and it happened so that was one of the first countries where we started playing outside of our, home region. We had bookings from Vienna, our partners. They invited us to play here back in 2015.
I mean, it would be a no-brainer because you're on Napalm Records, and it's a...
We were not on Napalm.
Sorry, you were...
We were absolutely independent that day.
At the beginning, now you're...
Now we are on name.
I think since 2016, if I'm...
16, yeah, but it was since 2015, and we just came here to play because bookings invited us to play. And that was cool. That was really cool. Yeah, and this is how I fell in love with Austria. I have friends coming from here, and also the language, I a bit understand German. a bit. I know a few phrases here, so yeah, the experience here generally has always been cool.
Great. I missed a few opportunities to see you before. Now it's my first time seeing you live, and yeah, my throat is a little bit sore from all the screaming along with Tatiana. Yeah, no, I loved it. I mean, sound was kind of shitty because of.
It wasn't shitty because of the room. It was shitty because we were suppressed and we were not allowed to go above 98 decibels, right?
Oh yeah, that could. I mean, you were loud, but yeah, the sound was a little bit muffled. But your sound guy really worked his ass off, and especially the last few songs sounded great. I enjoyed the show very much, no question. But that brings me to a very important question for myself, and especially for our listeners. Will you be here again maybe this summer? Do you already know if you'll be playing Austria again?
I am not sure. Let me think. If I'm not mistaken, there were some negotiations about a concert or two, but definitely no festival so far. Maybe some will show up, but at the moment only one show, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and it is yet not confirmed.
Okay, so nothing specific, but well, we are hoping that we will see you again soon. Then let's get to your next step, in that sense that you are working on a new album. I mean, we are going to start working on a new album as soon as we come back home from this tour. Oh, that's great. You just released, I think 11th of January.
Yes, exactly.
You released Micro, your EP. It's 5 songs, 5 kick-ass songs. I gotta go to the song Micro at first because it mostly features your bass playing, I would say.
Yeah, it's originally it was just a bass solo. And Vlad recorded that rhythm with a cajon, and it fit perfectly.
I agree.
And we just decided to leave it as it is, just bass and some percussion.
I thought it was a very nice outro to the whole EP. Really enjoyed it. But then let's get to your single releases, which are 3. It's Ape, it's Dreadful Moments, which is a lyric video, and at last Perennial, which is just kick-ass, one of my favorite songs of you guys. Especially Dreadful Moments has a very intricate bass line that you wrote. Tell me a little bit, what was your approach when writing that bass?
Well, first of all, this is a song which Vlad and I made together. Mostly this is my song in terms of composition and the structure of the song, and Vlad composed the parts where Tatiana sings clean vocals. Originally I had my own parts for that, but he said that was shit and composed his own stuff for the two episodes of the song.
That's songwriting.
Yeah, and I was okay about that, because when he came up with those chord progressions, I understood that it would be really easy and it would be really cool to make something special on bass, because there was a lot of space for the bass guitar. This is how it happened. The same thing happened. I think I cannot say that my bass lines on Dreadful Moments are better than Ape, because for me these two songs are, in terms of bass guitar, are definitely probably the best bass lines I've ever made, recorded and played. And it just somehow happens that these songs are not overloaded with guitar riffs. These songs have space for all instruments, and especially for the bass guitar. And it makes me happy, really. I really love playing such stuff. And in terms of Dreadful Moments, it just... I think we were creating the atmosphere. We were creating this atmosphere of quite depressive one, an intricate one, and maybe even mesmerizing a little bit.
Especially intricate and depressing fits the song, not just the music, but also Tatiana's lyrics on that song. Oh, it was your lyrics, but which she sings. Those are quite personal lyrics. If
it wasn't written about me, just about things happened to me, to my friends, people around me, and it just. This is a very serious topic to talk about.
It's an extremely serious topic, and the music fits it very well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is how it happened. When we composed the composition musically, I just listened from the very beginning to the very end. I knew the very next moment what I would write about, what this song would be about, because the musical image just brought me into my mind this story which is in the lyrics.
Yeah, I totally get that. Music fits perfectly with the lyrics. That's great. When you say you write music, you gotta have some influences right there, musically and also on your own instrument. Speak a little bit about that.
Well, like we spoke before the interview, it's Ryan Martini. I do believe that he is the greatest bass guitarist in metal of all times. Yeah, all times.
I would agree. He was the guy that took me from rock to metal. When I realized, oh my God, you can play such things for metal, and my whole approach to bass playing changed immediately. Yeah.
So, and also I would pick Alex Webs from Cannibal Corpse, maybe Sean Malone from Cynic. Quite a lot of guys. But these three are on top. Tony Choi from Atheist, wonderful bass guitarist. Yeah, and generally in music, my most favorite band is, of course, Opeth. Opeth, Mudvayne, Meshuggah, Cynic, Atheist. Progressive metal bands, I would say, generally.
Yeah, there are a lot of those. I can now add Jinjer to those bands for me. So thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And speaking about music influences, you're coming from the Ukraine, and I don't think that there's a big metal scene in the Ukraine, but I think that you have a really motivated metal scene that are playing their asses off. I think you're the major player now, but do you have metal bands from the Ukraine you enjoy personally, and you could recommend our listeners?
There are quite a lot of bands like Megamas, Velihan, Space of Variations. There is a very good, I cannot say they are metal, they are kind of stoner rock metal a bit, Synoptic. Yeah, and there is a good band, not really an old one, but a new one called 1914. You'll hear about them, definitely. They're getting bigger and bigger. I think that's quite enough. Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely quite enough. So, and now, last but not least, a lot of our listeners are musicians themselves, wanting to start a band, already having a band. What do you think is the most important advice you can give for them to maybe break out themselves and to improve on their band?
It's very easy. First of all, music should stand first in front of everything. Tattoos, your image, everything. You need to play music well. Compose it well and play it well. So practice a lot, listen to a lot of music, and do pay attention to what you play a lot. Yeah, and secondly, when you finally can play well, it's time to break through. And the only way to break through is just to be absolutely self-sacrificing. Just forget about everything and only focus on music and on your band and move forward despite anything around you. Take risks. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Eugene, for this interview. You're listening Radio Agora. My name is Stephan. This is Eugene from Jinjer, and we're out. Rock on.